Ever replayed a bad decision in your head, wondering, why did I do that? We've all been there. Regret can be painful, even paralyzing. But what if I told you regret isn't just a mistake? It's a psychological pattern. That's right, a pattern. And just like any pattern, once you recognize it, you can change it. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the why we do things we regret, how our brains trick us into making bad decisions, and most importantly, how to break the cycle. You with me? Let's do this. Now, let's get something straight right off the bat. Our decisions? They're not just logical. We like to think they are, but it's just not that simple. Our decisions are driven by a whole lot more than logic. We're talking emotions, past experiences, even that fear of missing out, that FOMO. You see that delicious piece of chocolate cake on the counter. Logic says, you're trying to eat healthy, remember? But your emotions, they're saying just one bite won't hurt. And then there's your past experiences whispering, remember how good it tasted last time? Next thing you know, you're scraping the plate, wondering where your willpower went. We all have these internal battles going on, folks. It's like having a little angel on one shoulder and a little devil on the other, each one whispering in your ear. And let me tell you, sometimes that devil is a smooth talker. So how do we make sense of this? Well, understanding how your brain works is the first step. Your brain, it loves shortcuts. It wants to make decisions quickly and efficiently. And that's where heuristics come in. Heuristics are mental shortcuts like rules of thumb that help us make quick decisions without overthinking everything. Now, heuristics can be helpful in a lot of situations. For example, if you're crossing the street and see a car coming, you don't stop to calculate the car's speed and trajectory. You just get out of the way, right? That's a heuristic at work, keeping you safe. But here's the catch. Heuristics can also lead us astray, especially when it comes to more complex decisions, because they rely on past experiences and emotional biases. Heuristics can make us jump to conclusions, misjudge risks, and make choices we later regret. Take, for instance, the availability heuristic. This little trickster makes us overestimate the likelihood of something happening based on how easily we can recall similar events. Ever watch the news and see a story about a shark attack, then be terrified to go in the ocean, even though shark attacks are incredibly rare? That's the availability heuristic at play. Then there's the confirmation bias, which is a real doozy. This bias leads us to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs, even if those beliefs are wrong. We tend to ignore evidence that contradicts what we already think, and we surround ourselves with people who agree with us. This creates an echo chamber where our biases are reinforced, and it becomes harder to see things objectively. And don't even get me started on the sunk cost fallacy. This one keeps us clinging to bad decisions because we've already invested so much time, money, or effort into them. We tell ourselves, I've come this far, I can't give up now, even when it's clear that cutting our losses would be the smarter move. These cognitive biases, they're like optical illusions for the brain. They distort our perception of reality and lead us to make decisions that aren't in our best interest. But here's the good news. Once you become aware of these biases, you can start to counteract them. Let's talk about some of the most common regrets people have. These regrets aren't random. They often stem from cognitive biases. By understanding this, you can identify patterns in your life and break free from regret. One major regret is not taking action when you had the chance. This could be not going after a dream job or not expressing your feelings. We hesitate, second guess, and let fear hold us back. When the opportunity is gone, we wonder, what if? This regret often comes from fear of failure and the status quo bias. Fear keeps us in our comfort zones, afraid to take risks. The status quo bias makes us favor the familiar over the unknown. Another common regret is saying something hurtful in the heat of the moment. Emotions run high, and you say something you don't mean. Once the words are out, you can't take them back. This regret often stems from a lack of emotional regulation. When we're triggered, we react impulsively without thinking. We attribute others' behavior to their character flaws, not circumstances. Making choices based on fear is another big regret. We let fear dictate our decisions, choosing the safe option. This often stems from a lack of self-worth and the negativity bias. Not spending enough time with loved ones is a regret that hits later in life. We get caught up in our lives and neglect those who matter most. When we lose someone, we realize we didn't cherish the time we had. Not taking care of your health is another regret with long-term consequences. We know we should eat healthy and exercise, but it's easy to let it slide. As we get older, we feel the effects of our neglect. This regret often stems from a lack of self-care and the optimism bias. We think we're immune to the consequences of unhealthy habits. These are just a few of the most common regrets people have. What are some of yours? Think about the things you wish you had done differently. What patterns do you see? What cognitive biases might have been at play? How to break the cycle. Look, recognizing these common regrets, understanding why they happen, that's a powerful first step, but it's not enough. You've got to be willing to do the work, to break free from these patterns and start making choices that align with your values and goals. So, how do you do that? How do you stop the cycle of regret? Well, I'm going to give you some practical strategies, some tools you can use starting today to make better decisions and live a more fulfilling life. First and foremost, you've got to pause before reacting. Train yourself to breathe before making emotional choices. You know, when we're triggered, our emotions can hijack our thinking, leading to impulsive decisions we later regret. That's why it's crucial to create space between the stimulus and your response. Think of it like this. You're not a firecracker, exploding at the slightest spark. You're more like a tea kettle. You need time to heat up before you whistle. So the next time you feel yourself getting worked up, take a few deep breaths, count to 10, or even step away from the situation for a few minutes. This will give you time to calm down and make a more rational decision. Next, start practicing future self-thinking. Ask yourself, will I regret this in 5 years? Will I regret eating this entire pizza in 5 years? Will I regret skipping this workout in 5 years? Will I regret not speaking up for myself in 5 years? This simple question can be incredibly powerful. It shifts your perspective from immediate gratification to long-term consequences. You see, our brains are wired to prioritize short-term rewards over long-term gains. That's why it's so easy to choose the donut over the salad, the instant gratification over the delayed gratification. But by connecting with your future self, you tap into a deeper level of motivation, one that's driven by your values and aspirations. And here's a big one. Forgive yourself. Holding on to regret only reinforces bad decision-making. Listen, everyone makes mistakes. It's part of being human. The key is to learn from your mistakes and move on. Dwelling on the past won't change anything. In fact, it will only keep you stuck in a cycle of negativity. So, if you're holding on to regret, it's time to let it go. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you've made, the choices you regret. You did the best you could with the information you had at the time. Now, you're older, wiser, and better equipped to make different choices. Remember, forgiveness is not about condoning your actions. It's about releasing the negative emotions that are holding you back. It's about giving yourself permission to move on and create a better future. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Breaking free from regret, making better decisions, it takes effort, it takes commitment. But let me tell you something. You are capable of change. You have the power within you to rewrite your story, to create a life you're proud of. Don't let regret hold you hostage any longer. Take the steps I've outlined today and start making choices that align with your values, your goals, and your vision for the future. You deserve to live a life free from regret, a life filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Reach out to a trusted friend, family member, or therapist for support. We're all in this together.